righty, here we go, guys. Here we go. Yeah, just so you know, we are going to be diving into these deck lists. Thank you so much. Yeah, 4K. Kind of crazy. Did not expect that, but no, it's been moving fast, and I'm going to be really excited, especially when Spirit Forge actually gets released on the growth that we'll continue to be able to have. But no, thank you, Keldor. Really means a lot. Really fun to be able to reach that 4K mile marker. Big deal. So, and also wait, is it really like near your 1 month of becoming a member? Dang, man. Well, congrats. Trying to still update some icons and everything for you here as being a member. I've made icons for Twitch and emojis for Twitch chat. And that is, quieter than usual. Okay, let's see. Thank you. Let's see. A little bit better. Yeah, because the big reason is I am trying to still fix my audio issue. I just posted a video talking about what happened with Jax and between Jax and Draven in the top 16 and Sivir in the top 4. And it's dumb because I've had to use 2 different mics here, and I still have this mic as well. And it's still my OBS is acting really weird. And I still think even on the live stream, we're still getting even like a digital laugh on the live stream, which is really weird. But also, Keldor, because of you, I've even started playing that Pokemon tower defense game that you posted on your YouTube video. Mainly because, yeah, you posted that. I'm like, that looks really fun, and now I don't get any work done at work. So anyway, guys, good to have you all here. Hopefully the audio levels are a lot better for you guys now. I turned up everything. We have some really fun stuff to go over with you. If you guys are curious, let me actually get this for you real quick. If you guys are curious on what it actually looked like in the tournament decks, here are the tournament decks as far as they have been updated for this regionals. Now, we are going to be going into this tournament gameplay, watching it live. I have the Chinese stream pulled up, and we're going to just watch and see actually what ended up happening and why, Kai'Sa ended up claiming the top spot again. And the interesting thing about Kai'Sa winning the top spot is because, she hasn't had a really great showing when it's come to what she's been able to do in Spirit Forged. Had a really good showing as, I think the 3rd most deck last regionals, and then this regionals had a decent enough showing and ended up finally actually taking it. But again, with Kai'Sa last regionals, I don't think she was even able to break into that top 8. And so really surprising there, especially from a deck that was able to do so well this last meta. And I mean, here we go. We'll take a look at the deck lists here. But I do got to say, it is a really interesting deck list that we have here. So again, just for you guys who might not know, Kai'Sa has the ability that when you play a spell, you may tap Kai'Sa as the legend and be able to basically pay a power cost of said spells. So really helpful stuff right there, and can be very powerful in this current meta. Then also we have 7 Fury runes, 5 Mind runes here, and 3 battlefields that are all fairly standard here for Kai'Sa. And I do really like the Obelisk of Power here. Now, for those of you who don't know, wow, that is a zoom in there. I didn't expect it to zoom in that much. Anyway, for those of you who might not know about Obelisk of Power, it specifically says that at the start of each player's beginning phase, that player channels 1 rune. So again, that's been happening a little bit more for the Draven matches I've been seeing, because especially when you are going second in the Draven matchups, it's been very helpful that you get that additional rune when going second so that you can try to get into the game a lot quicker there. Draven still, of course, will be able to start with 3 runes on turn 1, but that doesn't necessarily give him nearly as big of a benefit as what you see on you getting 4 runes. And so, on the flip side, even in the Draven Mirror, they do the same exact thing too. So really interesting dynamic there, adding Obelisk of Power for Kai'Sa and for the Draven Mirror match, respectively. And it looks like it actually does make a pretty big impact. But then you look at this deck list, and yeah, there is a lot of removal here, but it is also very, very low to the ground. I gotta say, I really do like what this deck list looks like, but still, there is one, a lot of card draw here, and two, just a lot of really low might units. And it's like, well, then how do you actually end up being able to overrun the opponent and be able to last to even get to 8 points, let alone win a match? Because, I mean, you look at Plundering Poro, for example. I'm not zooming in anymore on that. Oh, we'll do it manually. Because you look at things like Plundering Poro, for example, and yeah, it's good. When I conquer, play a Gold Gear token exhausted, very powerful. But again, that's a 2 might. Then Pouty Poro with Deflect, Watchful Sentry. When it dies, you draw 1. Lecturing Yordle has Tank, which is very helpful. And when you play me, draw 1. Same with Noxus Hopeful, to be played out for a 4 might for 2. Really good. Then on the flip side, we also have Thousand Tail Watcher with Accelerate. And when you play me, give enemy units -3 this turn to a minimum of 1. Bellows Breath, which can be repeated, dealing 1 damage to up to 3 units in the same location. Hextech Ray. Retreat, to be able to get some runes channeled, which is very powerful. And also even saving a unit that you do not want to lose, such as your Kai'Sa, can be very helpful there. Stupefy for card draw -1, and Falling Star. Then not only that, on the flip side too, we have Piercing Light, which also can be repeated. That deals 2 to a unit on a battlefield, then deals 2 up to 1 other unit. Smokescreen at 1, Void Seeker at 1, Progress Day to be able to draw 4, Singularity at 3 to be able to deal 6 up to 2 units, and also Icathian Rain, which has had its errata, and 2 Time Warps. Again, does that mean that we're going to be seeing a lot more of, are we going to be seeing a lot more of Time Warps maybe spiking in price a little bit? I mean, again, because competitors really love to chase the hype. I've been saying this in every single one of my Market Watch videos, is that, I mean, last week when we saw Baited Hook Fiora get second, well, what shot up in price? Oh, by the way, Baited Hook, great. It was at $20 for a little bit, and then it shot right back up to $40, and now it's leveled back down, which is good. But again, I really do love what this deck has been able to do, and it has a lot of really good answers. I love the sideboard, what it's able to do. I still don't know about Rocket Barrage in particular. I don't like it as a deck, or as a card in the deck, but it still is able to deal 4 to a unit in a base or kill a gear, which can be really good. And I'm going to be curious, because we get one more regionals, and I'm really wondering if Kai'Sa can maybe have a little bit more of a presence now that people are seeing, oh, Kai'Sa actually won here. If we're going to see Draven maybe fall a little bit and Kai'Sa go up a little bit more, because we've had Aurelia be the second most popular deck, and now we might see people switch back to Kai'Sa. We'll see. But I do really like how this deck is built. It looks really powerful, and it prioritizes even like the card draw with the removal side of things. And so it looks really good. I'm excited to see what it's able to do, and I'm going to be curious because, yeah, it had a really fun matchup versus Ezreal, which we are also going to be taking a look at. And that's going to be the thing. Draven was nowhere to be seen in the top 4. And I got to say, I love what that necessarily means. Now, again, we have the deck list set. We've posted the link for you guys. But here is the regional open for the Ezreal that got second. And the big thing that's going to be making an impact here is going to be Pit Crew. Now, Pit Crew in particular is such a good card. Now, it just says that when you play a gear, ready me. Well, guys, what is a gear? Oh, well, it is, either one of your equipments or gear that you end up playing, but also gold is a gear. And you have multiple ways to be able to build, or to be able to play out a gold, such as Card Sharp, which when you play me, you and each opponent may play a gold token exhausted. For each opponent who did, play a gold gear token exhausted. So potentially getting 2 there, which is pretty solid, especially for Ezreal. Then on the flip side, you have Cole, which when you attach it to a unit, and you conquer with said unit, you are able to play a gold gear token exhausted. So very powerful there and a great response. They're even fitting Scrap Heap in this deck, which is very surprising too. And so with Pit Crew, you're able to get things started here relatively quickly, which is really fun to see, because the rat itself is able to move into a battlefield, ready itself up, move back out of a battlefield, then you play a seal, then it moves into the other battlefield, scores 2 points, creates 2 golds, and then can immediately just move right back into base. And you can do that pretty consistently. Now, of course, you do need the combo piece between Pit Crew and Cole here. That's going to be one of the biggest deciding factors. But even outside of that, I really like how this deck is looking, and it really formulates around what Ezreal is able to do. Now, his legend ability is very powerful here, also saying that at reaction speed you can draw 1, and you use only if you've chosen an enemy unit and or gear twice this turn with spells or unit abilities. So again, really good ability right there, and ways to be able to draw cards. Not only that, you also have Hall of Legends that when you conquer here, you may pay 1 to ready your legend, so potentially allowing you to get more gears or more cards drawn from your legend ability. You also have Veiled Temple that when you conquer here, you may ready a friendly unit or a friendly gear, sorry, and if it is an equipment, you may detach it. So again, some really fun stuff to be able to utilize there. And then also Void Gate to deal 1 additional damage per spell. And again, you're seeing 2 decks here that are very built around not only damage, but card draw here. And it's made a really big difference. I mean, you have Scrap Heap here that is able to get card draw. Ezreal, he specifically says that when you play me, discard 1, then draw 2. Okay, cool. That's really good. Then optional additional costs, you pay cost 1 or 1 power less, you get to pick. So that means, something like even Thousand Tail Watcher here that has an accelerate cost. Just so you guys know, the acceleration cost is an optional cost, which means you could potentially accelerate Thousand Tail Watcher for 7 and 2 power, or for even 8 and 1 power, which is very powerful in this case. And so, again, you got to be very mindful. This is a kind of complicated deck to try to run. And one thing that's also really surprising that maybe I would take out the Scrap Heaps in this case for would be to potentially play a Fizz in this deck, because there's not necessarily anything to get the spells out of the trash after you have already played it, and that could be something pretty beneficial. So I would maybe want to play test instead of Scrap Heap, while a very powerful equipment or gear to be able to draw a card, it still feels like there might be something more there. And again, even another Time Warp. And I do love unchecked power in this deck. The fact that you can exhaust all friendly units, then deal 12 to all units. Well, then if you have something like Seal of Discord, you clear out the battlefields. All right, cool. Well, Pit Crew readies up with that. You go and you conquer a battlefield. The gold is made. It moves back to base. And you might be able to have it conquer both. And so, yeah, got to say, really impressed with this. And yeah, I was very impressed also. You're correct, Nathan. I loved the Sivir deck. Sent it immediately over. I know Randy. I haven't met him in person yet. I need to meet him in person. That'd be really fun. And I think he is at Vegas, so I'll be able to meet him at that point, in person at least. But he's been a very skilled player, had a lot of really good tournament runs so far. And it's unfortunate what ended up happening with him in the top 4 there. It was against the Kaisa. And I really think he could have made it to the finals if only the deck was able to, or if the ruling with the judges ended up being a little bit different there. So sad to see. So sad. But again, and I also don't necessarily agree with the ruling that they did. I just posted a whole video on that literally, I think 5 minutes ago, because it has to deal with last rites. And they said that the Rasha couldn't count itself after being like targeted with last rites. And so he had to pay one additional rune to be able to get Rasha out of the trash. Well, because of that, instead of playing the Rasha to the base, he wanted to play it to the battlefield instead. And the judge said, nope, you can't do that. You already declared that it was going out to the battlefield. And so we'll only rewind up to the point where you need to actually make the additional cost. And then it still needs to be able to go out to the zone that you designated that it was going to be in. So really unfortunate there. But again, I really love this Ezreal deck and what it's able to do. I'm still debating on what deck I'm wanting to take to Vegas. Ezreal's one that I've really had my eye on. I just don't want to pay an arm and a leg for 3 Ezreals. That's just me. And then at the same time, I am really, really enjoying Fiora Hook. And Fiora's had some really good showings too, not going to lie. Anyway, guys, so yeah, with all of that, I love what the Ezreal deck is able to do. And outside of maybe the signature spell, I have everything else for it. The Seal of Discord, I would need to get one more. I have 2 of them. I would need to get one more, and I would need, of course, 3 Ezreals. But otherwise, the rest of the deck should be relatively cheap. So I'm kind of excited. I need to play test this a lot more. I need to get the rhythm down. This Ezreal deck is a very complicated deck to try to pilot, but I think once you do get the rhythm of it down, it can be, oh my gosh, that is a huge zoom out, a lot of fun. And so anyway, guys, here we go. We are going to be taking a look at this finals match here from the actual match itself. Oh, wow. That is perfect timing here. And I think we're going to mute the background here in this case because there's no point in having all of that going. But again, going to be curious to see how this match ends up situating here because, again, we do know that the Kai'Sa ends up winning here, but I didn't see that coming. I wouldn't have thought that the Kai'Sa would win here, but I'm just blown away that Ezreal and Kai'Sa both respectively were able to make it to the finals here. This is something that is really fun to be able to witness here, and we'll see what might be happening here as we go into the stacked deck. And again, oh my gosh, I just hit X on that. And so again, some really good answers in the start of this Ezreal's hand. This is going to be a best of 3, and I mean, I can't believe even going 10-1-1, both players respectively. Good for them. That is a feat in and of itself. And then, of course, on top of that, they've been able to make it to the finals. Now, again, I really do think it would have been a different outcome if the Sivir judge, the judge in the Sivir match, would have been able to do something different. So here we go with the card sharp. A gold will certainly be created. But in this case, the opponent is going to also be opting in for a gold. So that's going to be 2 gold right off the bat. And again, Ezreal can be a very power-hungry deck. So in this case, to be able to create 2 gold, have the card sharp out onto the battlefield, that's going to allow for some early points potentially. And they're waiting on the Ezreal, which I got to say I really do like as an option here. Because again, you got to be a little bit careful about what Kai'Sa can do. And you see how fast that board was able to be built up. That's going to be 2 cards in hand, both for the Lecturing Yordles. One was played on the previous turn, and then with the Noxus Hopeful coming out. So a lot of might already right off the bat, and could potentially be going up to 2 points here. So a gold is going to be spent for a seal. And this is already without the pit crew coming into play. And so it looks like Ezreal could be coming in. Of course, the seal is going to be paying the power cost, and then discarding 1 to be able to draw 2. The Stupefy is going to be discarded here. And two's going to be drawn. Looks like a Time Warp being off that deck, off the top of the deck. And again, this is going to be something really fun here because I want to see what the Kaisa player does here to be able to deal with these board states. So here we go with the interesting, attaching the equipment onto the Ezreal in this case, and then not attacking into a battlefield and leaving 2 runes at the ready. So again, you might be a little bit worried about the spells that could be coming from Kaisa and trying to protect your units. It's no longer going to have both of these units falling to a falling star in this case, and instead they're going to be able to survive and fight another day. So you still got to be a little bit careful because if there is a stupefy or anything like that, then both can still fall, and that's going to be a big benefit there to the Kaisa player. And again, he already has a lot of cards in hand as a Kaisa player, but Ezreal can get an insane amount of card draw. So that's not necessarily anything to, bat an eye at. This is just going to, both competitors are going to be able to get through so much of their deck. So yeah, it looks like again, there's no clock at this time either. So both competitors are able to take their time and they don't have to worry about fast playing or anything along those lines because they got plenty of time. And especially as you get more and more cards in hand, it can be very difficult to know your lines in this case because it's like, you have so many different lines that you can take. But still, it's going to be interesting to see how they prepare to go about this. So the Noxus Hopeful is going to be going into the battlefield. That's going to be up to 1, and then the Yordle going into the other to go to 2. Likewise, the Kaisa is going to be played non-accelerated in this case, as the pass is happening with 3 runes still at the ready. So if one of the battlefields is taken, Kaisa could still move in and get another point for Conquer, but you got to be so scared because of the top battlefield adding 1 additional damage to spells that target here. And so we'll see what ends up happening, but this is nothing to bat an eye at as a hidden or a stacked deck is played here. So being able to look at the top 3 cards of the deck. And so we'll see what ends up happening. But I mean, already going to have the ability to do a Thousand Tail in this case. Opponent's not going to cut the 2 cards. Not that it necessarily makes a huge difference if they do or don't, but there is a randomizer there. And as we go into a Void Seeker, or not a Void Seeker, you know what I mean, a Mind Splitter, being able to see the opponent's entire hand and being able to pick any card from the hand and saying, yep, that card is gone. And so, yeah, that's going to be a pretty big impact to the board state right there. We'll see what ends up happening with all of that. But again, also can write down everything. So, really good play to have right there to be able to mark down every single card and then be able to know what they can be accepting here in the future. So we'll see if that's able to make a big difference here, but I think it really could. I mean, that hand knowledge in and of itself is huge. Also, 7 might. That is so difficult to have to deal with and play around. And it's like, gosh, what would you pick at this point? And it's like I would either go probably either the Void Seeker or the Retreat personally. But even still, this is a tough choice to try to make here. And it's like, or do you go with the Stupefy for that matter? Because again, you're gonna be drawing even more cards at that point. But still, I think the Void Seeker would be what I would pick. Also, no units in hand. So yeah, it looks like the Void Seeker is going to be going into the trash. That is also the only Void Seeker in the deck, so it is gone. I do also really love this Kaisa deck build because it has the ability to draw a lot of cards so that you can have the answers needed to be able to make that impact on the board state. And so again, though, this is a long match too. That's the tough part. This is a long match. But I mean, what we're already on turn 3 or 4, and there's a lot of runes out. And the card chart made a big difference there in that opening. Now here we go with the card chart going into the Lecturing Yordle. Now again, we know that there's definitely a Void Seeker and a couple other options here. So he's moving in regardless, which also can be a little bit intimidating. So the Kaisa player could very well be thinking, well, if he has these kinds of responses, what then can I and should I play around? And so yeah, that's going to be a tough choice here. And so yeah, it looks like it is going to be taking the battlefield and then passing for turn. So great job there on being able to do so. And it's 1-3 currently, though, with the Kaisa being at the ready. Yeah, and so the Kaisa deck list. Let me get that for you. Here's actually all the deck lists, so that you can look at all of them. But yeah, this Kaisa deck list was really interesting, and again, prioritizing a lot of the card draw. And so I'm also really interested to see what this Kaisa deck is able to do because again, it does not have a lot of might. In the sense of what its units have outside of Thousand Tail Watcher. And so it's like, okay, cool. Well, then how are you, if your opponent makes a big board state, how do you then go about taking these battlefields, especially mid to late game here? So the Kaisa is going to be committing in. You do have to be careful, though, about what options they could potentially have, but luckily nothing to be played as the opponent is tapped out. So the Kaisa is going to be drawing another card. The risk is you do want to still keep one rune up, though, at least to be able to save the Kaisa just in case. It being in the battlefield that deals 1 additional damage for each spell, that's very easy to do. Because we have Wages of Pain, we have Ezreal's signature spell that also deals 3. So a very difficult situation here. And so, yeah, again, competitors are able to look at these options consider their options as long as they want. So it looks like, yeah, we are going to be having the Stupefy add a -1 onto the Mind Splitter here. With the Stupefy. Again, another card draw here for the Kaisa. And it's interesting because we haven't necessarily seen these Kaisa decks go back to what traditionally Kaisa is able to do, mainly like the spell slinging. It's had some of that feel in the previous decks, but I do like what this deck is trying to do here. How it still prioritizes card draw and spell removal here. And I mean, and it severely prioritizes card draw, which is really interesting here. And so, yeah, we're about to get into this game. Still, though, right now, the Kaisa player is pretty well set up. But you got to be very careful about what, the Ezreal would be able to do on his following turn. But also, having an Ezreal tapped out is a very big deal here. Because you can do whatever essentially you want to do without having to worry about any of the answers that Ezreal could dish out here. And with that pass, it's going to be a good ready up. The Kaisa is at stake, but literally only one rune was used for the Kaisa player. That is a lot. I need to log in. Dang it. I have a profile here. I do have a profile. Let's double speed, actually. Especially with how slow they're playing. I think we'll 2x here. And so Ezra right now still does have a good catch-up mechanic here if he does decide to do the time warp. But the hardest part is that they run the purple seals and nothing else necessarily. So there we go with a free called shot, being able to look at 4 immediately being repeated. And looks like Wages of Pain is going to be put to the bottom. And also, ooh, there we go. One of my favorite cards going to also be added to hand. That could be something to really utilize here. Deals 12 damage to everything. But if you're able to have some good answers here. Oh, and then the Mind Splitter is going in. So it looks like we're going to be dealing 4 right off the bat to the Mind Splitter. Priority will then pass right back to the Ezreal, and that's going to be a trade. Oh, get out of here. Stop doing that every 5 seconds. So that's going to be a big trade right there. And we'll see what else is able to be done at this point. But again, floating a rune for another called shot coming in. Another 2 cards going to be added to hand. That's actually a pretty big deal, having a seal to potentially add. Because I believe he did draw the rat, but it looks like he is going to be going with the time warp in this case, and then being able to look at 2, putting the rebuke back on the bottom, and then able to draw the other card. So again, here we go with the rat coming in. One of the floated runes was now spent. And that is going to be a pass. So again, Kaisa has all the runes that they could want to try to move in and do some really devastating things. Not only that, oh my gosh, I'm just going to log in at this point. Sorry, guys. If it does it one more time, I'm logging in. And it will do it one more time, so I'll log in. It's never been this frequent, though. That's really annoying. And so, yeah, it looks like we are going up to 5, then immediately going in for 6. Wages of Pain is going to come in. Surprisingly enough, though, only going to be dealing 3 there, but a gold is going to be created to ready it up. And then with the Sudden Chill, or what is that deck called, or card called? Anyway, it's minusing 2 on that. Could also be repeated for 1 less with the Ezreal cost, and that is going to be enough to stop it. And that might have also been enough to stop the time warp here for the Kaisa. Still, though, even having 1 unit on a battlefield is going to be a big difference maker here. Still a lot of runes up. And if you do try to take the battlefield, we've already seen that the Kaisa has a lot of spell removal. And not only that, things like Stupefy. Okay, 1 second, guys. Let me log in real quick. Gosh, dang it. All right, let me pick the images. Uh-huh. Don't tell me username or password is incorrect. Ah, there we go. SMS login. Okay, there we go. Okay, sorry about this, guys. I hate that this is how it is. Anyway, but yeah, this has been a really fun match so far. Okay, send me the verification code. Okay. All right, I'm officially logged in, guys. There we go. Should have better prepared for that, but we're back. So again, here we go into this follow-up here. And so many runes for Kaisa. I mean, and with that, looks like we are going to be doing some forked damage here. Is it going to be repeated though? Is the big question. And it looks like it very well could be. So that's going to be 2 damage. You do have to pick a unit in a battlefield to be able to deal the amount of damage needed. And so that is a requirement. You have to deal 2. So he's going to retreat his own unit. Again, be able to channel the rune that he just sacrificed. Immediately play back out the Lecturing Yordle, drawing another card, then going out with another Noxus Hopeful. So great answers so far here to be able to get another board state built. Now, this is going to be a big turn for Ezreal. Both competitors do have pretty much all of their runes out, but another Mind Splitter is going to be able to come in. The Time Warp is gone in this case. So a great answer there to be able to mitigate what the Kaisa could do. And again, can write down all the cards that are in hand. Now, there are 2 Time Warps in the hand or in the deck for Kaisa, which is scary. Not you know, it might be a little bit difficult to try to get through here as another pit crew is coming out. And again, though, the Ezreal is completely tapped out, so could be going up to 7 runes at this point, or 7 points at this point, and drawing 4 cards off of the top. Great answer there. I mean, already able to draw 4 more cards. That, I think, is a great game changer there in that case. That is a lot. And then even still has 6 runes after the fact to be able to look at, you know, to play things. And so here we go with the the Falling Star in this case to be able to deal 6 damage. Now again, the Ezreal is tapped out, but the Smokescreen is also going to be taking out the Void or Mind Splitter too. And this was one of the biggest questions I had was, well, how does the Kaisa deal with these board states? And we're seeing that, yeah, the removal is just putting in all the work, and then on top of that, you're using the spells to lessen the amount of might that a unit is able to have. So the damage is doing so much more. And that was something that was really interesting to me, because I was wondering, how do you play that against Draven, where they do have so many spells that, or you know, or their equipment that can be played at reaction speed to be able to really make it a difficult field to try to clear out units. And this is how. Really impressed with how this Kaisa deck is handling. And is this going to be the return of Kaisa? Let me know, guys. What are your thoughts? Now, again, Ezreal in this game 1 hasn't necessarily been able to find a lot of their answers so far. And Kaisa's been able to have a lot of answers against this deck. So we have an accelerated, Or no, we're reinforcing. There we go. We are reinforcing with that. We also even have a time warp, though. That card is essentially dead in his hand right now, especially just with the deficit here. And the scary part is, with all the cards that he drew in hand, he could go over to the other battlefield. But already that is going to be a big finish there. No, that is insane. Bill immediately just taking out all the answers and able to take out both as we go into game number 2. A great answer there from Kyson. Seemed like it was able to pretty handedly take out the Ezreal in this case. I mean, Ezreal did have a little bit of a struggle in the beginning, and rightfully so. Wasn't able to get the pit crew started here, which can be a big difference maker in how that maneuvers around the board. But at the same time, that was a really solid answer, and really impressed with how Kaisa was able to handle this board state, and Ezreal just wasn't able to do much. I'm also got to say, I'm really surprised by the amount of runes competitors were able to keep out on the board. That was insane to be able to see. And so again, great answers there, and we're gonna jump a little bit ahead. Looks like they spent probably about 5 to 7 minutes side decking here. That's insane. But again, you don't have any you're not on any clock. So what you can side and side deck in and out, especially in the finals, that is a big deal here to be able to make it there. So it's like, all right, well, with that, what are we going to be able to do here? So here we go into game number 2. Is Ezreal going to be able to bring it back? And it looks like the Obelisk of Power is going to be here. That can help Ezreal out a lot. I mean, could go with a turn 1 Ezreal in this point. And it looks like, yeah, going to be floating one. I mean, that is one of the best openings that you're able to get here. And it looks like, yeah, we're going to be having Bellows Breath was almost going to be discarded, but instead is going to be the Thousand Tail Watcher to be able to draw 2 cards. Now, again, having the 4 runes is going to be pretty helpful. Kaisa gets played flat out and then is going to be passing immediately back. And so here we go again. The called shot is going to be able to be played for free. Able to look at top 2 and doing that twice. One of the most broken combos in this game, but Ezreal is able to do it so powerfully. That's why his card is going to be so expensive in English. And so here we go again with the card sharp being able to create 2 gold because his opponent wanted to create 1 gold. And again, we saw a big difference maker that was actually able to make here for the Kaisa. Now is going to be moving into a battlefield, only run 1 rune at the ready, so nothing to necessarily be worried about here as we go into a Ferris Forerunner coming out onto the battlefield or onto the base. That's going to be a big difference maker there, especially because it is one of the most powerful cards in the sense of for 6 and a power, you are able to get up to 12 might from 1 card. That's insane. And can make such a big difference here. Great side in here going against Ezreal because sometimes he can struggle as another called shot is coming out for another 2 cards in hand. Oh gosh, good pickup there, Terran. Seriously, yeah. And the fact that I do also love, I'm wondering how mad the Chinese are going to be getting at it. How mad the Chinese are going to be at us for playing the Chinese cards. We're driving their market up, but our market's probably going to come down at that point. And I'm tempted to pick up even like now the Chinese seal. I need 1 more seal. Well, the Seal of Discord is a lot cheaper in China. So why wouldn't I, save $40 in that case? And so, yeah, I really do think like it was a good rule. I like that they made that change, but I can only imagine that, yeah, the Chinese are going to get a little bit mad at us. Because we're going to drive up there. I'm sure we already have. I'm pretty sure we already have. So yeah, this is going to be a big turn though. Again, we're already at 1-1 in this case. Ezreal has been able to build up his board state decently well. And as we see a Lecturing Yordle coming in, 2 Lecturing Yordles, so that's going to be 2 cards drawn at that point. The Forerunner could move into the battlefield. And again, we saw, especially in turn 1, or game 1, how many runes the Kai'Sa left up. But in this case, Kai'Sa's, saying, hey, I'm okay with leaving a lot of these runes exhausted at this point, considering my board state. Ezreal with 4 gold out, though, ready to be used, is absolute insanity here, especially as you could even get out a Mind Splitter at this turn to be able to have a very solid answer here. Yeah, Terrence, no, seriously, great job there. I mean, might as well at this point. Hooks are only 15 bucks in China? I did not know that. Holy. I picked mine up in set 1. So, yeah, the price difference is just absolute insanity there. But here we go with the Mind Splitter coming down, and again, that could be a discard of the Time Warp, but there are a lot of scary cards. I mean, even if you're not necessarily needing to play around the Time Warp, that could be a dead card in hand until very late into this game. And so destroying all the gear, though, that is going to be a solid choice as the cards are getting written down here for our friend here. Being able to do so is huge hand knowledge here. I mean, and knowing that you got to be very careful about a Thousand Tail Watcher that could be coming out this turn. But at the same time, how are you going to be trying to play around the Forerunner here? Now, again, a Kai'Sa being tapped out is one of the best things that can go your way here. That's one of the things that you want the most to have happen here, is have your Kai'Sa tapped out. There are no responses that Kai'Sa can have this turn. Awesome. But it looks like a Bellows Breath is just going to clear the board. Great job there. And now, at the same time, that is still going to be a card draw off of the Watchful Sentry. But still, that really mitigated the damage that could have been done here. Great play from the Ezreal. And yeah, I agree with you. I really do like this Ezreal list. That's why I'm still debating on bringing either Fiora Hook or Ezreal, because I think both are going to be very viable here. And I really want to... I love Ezreal, but man, I got to say, Ezreal can be a very difficult deck to play, too. I've tried a couple of Pit Crew Ezreal. I need to try this build, because I do like this build better. I don't like the scrap heaps. I don't like the scrap heaps necessarily in this deck, because you already have enough of the card draw. I would switch that with Fizz, personally. Now, of course, yes, I always say this with the caveat of this person was able to make it into second place and I wasn't. And still, that was a big board wipe there that Kai'Sa was able to put out there with a singularity, taking out the Mind Splitter and the Ezreal in this case. Now, of course, this Kai'Sa has severely slowed down, but has been able to maintain a lot of answers, as a Void Seeker is going to be taking out the card Sharp. And again, that's going to be another card draw that it's able to utilize as the Forerunner moves back into the base. So again, Ezreal hasn't been able to necessarily get a whole lot of answers to stick, but we have the Pit Crew that could be coming in here. And if we are able to start moving around some, again, the Kai'Sa is tapped out, we can start to watch a lot of points able to be scored here. So here we are with the Pit Crew coming into play. Yeah, I mean, the judges use the same gold tokens the entire time. So yeah, they are bent beyond all reason. Even though, I mean, and you see, unfortunately, I've seen a lot of people saying that the foiling and the China cards actually bend a lot too. So here we go. We see the combos that are going to be started here with the rat, so it is going to be able to move in, and Card Sharp's going to be created. Again, going to be creating another gold at this point. And so he's saying no to the gold at that point, but the rat is able to come back to base. And that's going to be a pass. So only 1 point able to be scored. So not necessarily a whole lot done there, but not the worst. And so again, that's going to be already a -1 coming in with, what is that, a Stupefy that was played? I don't see it being marked yet. And I can't see the, oh. And then dealing 4 to a unit. Yeah, that's going to be a big deal right there. As the Forerunner moves right back into the base, or into the battlefield, to get another point, as the Deflect Poro is coming out onto the battlefield. Now again, Ezreal thrives on targeting opponents' units here. Ooh, and the Ornn coming down. Interesting. I love that. Okay. We got ourselves a little bit of a game here. Because, I mean, those gold tokens are going to be adding a lot of might to this Ornn. So if you can continue to move things around pretty effectively, you should be able to have a good matchup here. But as of right now, a Time Warp is going to be coming down. Oh my gosh. Now it looks like, yeah, we are going to have a Stupefy -1 again, trying to dig for the answers as the answer is found. And it looks like just in time going to be able to stop that Time Warp from going out. That was a game changer right there. Again, that sucks too. That was 10 might paid being stopped by a 2-cost spell. And so double seal, ugh, getting that to the bottom of the deck. That can be sometimes the risk of running 3 seals at that point. Going to be playing the Cull and attaching it. That's going to be another bit more of the might added to the Ornn, and easily taking this battlefield, going up to 3. Gotta say, I do love the Ornn inclusion here. Been able to get so many answers here. That's going to be a 12 might Ornn. As another Ornn comes down. Oh my gosh. Able to add the Cull. And then a pit crew coming down at last. So still being a 6-4 here. Kai'Sa still has the momentum, still has a lot of the answers. But will it be enough here? That's going to be the big deciding factor, I think. But so far, I mean, it's been a really good ride. But the Ezreal just has not been up in points this entire match. And so we'll see what ends up happening. But again, I gotta see. And I really think in this case, no, Vex wouldn't be enough here. But we saw that Vex would maybe make an impact, at least when trying to take battlefields here. And now the Ornn is coming in. And it's like, all right, well, there's a lot. I mean, you got to worry about the deflect. You got to worry about a lot of the other answers that they have. Here's another Cull that's going to be coming in. And again, that's more might that's going to be added. Wow. So, I mean, this is going to become just an absolute wall that is being put up by this Ezreal here. I love this kind of option here. All this gold is just going to continue to buff these Ornn. And I mean, and respectively, both are at 12 now. So Stupefy is going to be targeting the Poro in this case. Potentially. And I mean, you can dig for even like some rebukes or things like that. Is that 5 runes that are... No, they're not floated. What is the 5 there for? I think I missed that. But even still... Yeah, I think he floated 5. And it is 6-6 with Bellows Breath in the backfield. Again, that could clear out both of the Poros again, but is that going to be necessarily something worth it here? And it looks like it very well could be. So it looks like Bellows Breath repeated. And another Card Sharp could be coming out here soon too with... Whoa! Never mind. There's the Thousand Tail Watcher able to come out, and another reinforcement there. That is a lot of might there, and I don't think the Kaisa is going to be able to get into... take care of that, as we are probably going into game number 3. Gosh, that was a good answer. So again, you're able to at least check through all your options here. See if there's anything that you're able to do. You can mill over this as long as you want. They've already been playing for 73 minutes. That's difficult. Gosh. Could not imagine. That is a long finals match. The blood pressure, the stress, the anxiety. And it's like, I mean, these 2 days of competition all come down to this final game. And so we'll see what ends up happening here. Hey, thank you, Young Sea Otter. Thank you so much for becoming a member, man. Really appreciate it. Good to have you here, and welcome. Oh my gosh, though. That was an absolute game. So let's see what is then able to happen as we go into this final match. It all comes down to this. Daniel, good to see you, man. How's life down under? And so here we go into game number 3 of this finals match. It is 1-1. Ezreal took 1, Kaisa took 1, and it is all down to game number 3 on who is going to be able to take this as a Watchful Sentry comes out. Reaver's Row also being saved until the final battle. Really interesting. And again, Kaisa taking the gold here to give Ezreal 2 gold. You saw exactly what ended up happening last time he did that. And I'm also just really shocked that the Kaisa was able to, not necessarily utilize a lot of runes that needed to be recycled. But same with the Ezreal. They had so many runes on the board. That's insane. I gotta say, both these decks, I love watching both these decks work and what these opponents were able to do with their lists. I mean, it's so cool. Oh, well, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. You definitely didn't have to do that, but no, seriously, though, it really means a lot. I finally fixed the ghost voice. I still need to fix that on the live streaming. Hopefully you guys haven't had a lot of the woman laughter in this live stream. But I think I've finally fixed it in my videos. And so we'll see what ends up happening, guys. But man, we're already in February. I'm going to 3 pre-Rift events this weekend myself. I mean, I'm already super pumped for all of that. This is going to be such a fun set. And so here we go, though, into the match. It is currently 1-1. It's already hot. Woo. Yeah, no, it's hot. I get that. It's actually really hot here for the winter. We're at 50 degrees here in Utah, which is unheard of. We have not had snow this year. It's absolutely insane. So here we go with the Lecturing Yordle coming in to draw a card. Thousand Tail Watcher being drawn off the top of the deck. And then, yeah, here we go again. Another seal is able to come down for a called shot, trying to get some answers going. And again, 2 cards drawn, trying to find some answers. 3 Ezreals are in this deck. But again, if they can continue to take out these Ezreals, it's going to be very difficult. And the Ornn even coming in almost feels a little bit like a desperation move at this point. We're already at a 5-1 here versus the Ezreal. Again, the Kai'Sa has been able to get the answers and deal with this board state. And so, man, are we? I'm really curious. This next week, are we going to see a lot of Kai'Sas being brought to this final regionals in Spirit Forge for China? We might. So we'll see what's happening here. But again, already 4 cards that are able to be added. Such a powerful card. I mean, it's a 6 cost. That's a lot. But if you're able to deal with, maintaining a good board state, especially since Ezreal doesn't necessarily have direct removal spells outside of Singularity, or unchecked power for that matter, then you could get a lot of big answers. And I mean, he's already at 5-1, so to be able to pull back his units is a really big deal. But there we go with a nice spell addition here. Still, though, again, that's going to be mainly played for the equipment. There's nothing in the discard that he can necessarily get out yet, but at least he can get the Ezreal back out. Never mind. It looked like his field was empty yet. I didn't see him remove it. So the Ezreal is going to be able to come out, still has to pay the cost, discarding the card sharp to be able to draw 2, immediately able to refill the hand. But Kai'Sa is still in a really good spot right here. Gosh, really good spot right here. The rune count is at an insane high. The board state for Ezreal is incredibly weak right now. Holy crap. So we'll see what ends up happening here. But again, this is not looking good for the Ezreal. He is able to at least clear out a lot of the board here. But there are a lot of points that he needs to come back from. And even with, I mean, at this point, he could even take 1 and go with a Time Warp to go up to 6. Gosh, this is gonna be. I'm trying to figure out what Ezreal could potentially do to try to deal with these board states. As a Forerunner now is coming out, that is going to be 8 might out in the battlefield itself. That's going to be a big difference maker as the pass is situated here. 100 minutes so far played. I'm glad we did 2x at this. This is a very tough matchup for Ezreal, and we haven't seen a lot of Kai'Sas in the meta. But now that we have, and I think next week we're going to see even more. And this could also be even a wake-up call for a lot of people trying to go to Vegas and Italy for their regionals. Oh, what is the website for pre-Rift games? That's a good question. What was it? I have it in my video. Let me check. So anyway, yeah, this is, I mean, they're definitely building up board states here, but they're not necessarily able to get very many answers going on so far. I'm going to be, gosh, what can the Ezreal do at this point? I mean, he can continue to build up what the Ornn can do and then try to gank over. But again, any time warp in hand on the following turn could be devastating enough. So it looks like at this point, the retreat could be played here. The hard bargain's coming down. No answer needed, so both units are still going to be there at that point. And it looks like that is going to be a loss there, as the Ezreal has a very big victory there. But again, you see two bots that are going to now be coming out because of the Forerunner. I'll find that website for you, though. It's in my video. I think I put it in most of my videos for there. There's the, oh my gosh, there we go. With the time warp coming in for the final win there. Oh my gosh, that is an absolute big win. Gotta love it, gotta love it. Anyway, guys, yeah, that was a finals 2C, and it looks like, yeah, the Kai'Sa just has a very powerful matchup into Ezreal. So that's something that we're going to have to watch, but that is exactly why Kai'Sa was able to get there. More than anything, really well played there, as, I mean, they have some great celebrating going on right now. I'm not going to worry about that, though. Very solid win, though. Very solid win from the Kai'Sa. Again, I'm going to be very mindful of how all of this is going to go about. But anyway, guys, I just really wanted to watch the I really wanted to watch that finals round because it looked like it was going to be such a fun. There it is, Rifty. Haha, got it. Let's actually do one. We got some fun. We got some time, you know? We got some time. Anyway, guys, so what we're actually talking about is, just so you guys know, this is what I've been using for some of my content to be able to make and practice the pre-Rift events. It has a very... Oh, yeah. Deck list has already been posted somewhere. Let me get that for you. Here's all the deck lists for the regionals right here. Riftbound Stats hasn't done it yet that I've seen. Riftdex has. Riftdex is actually one of the fastest places. So if there is ever a regionals, I highly recommend watching Riftdex, though it still took them, I think it took them about 5 hours after the tournament to be able to get all of these deck lists up. Also, wait, before we go into the regionals, or before we go into the Rifty and do some stuff, I want to see some of these deck lists. Okay, first off, Sivir. Here we go, okay? Now, again, Randy TCG, really great player. Super respect him as a competitor. Probably one of the best players in this game, I would argue, personally. Such a skilled player here. The reason why I say that, let me just go and pop this up so we can look at it at a better image. He was able to do a lot with this deck. Now, I really do love Sivir as a legend. I think she is such a powerful legend with an interesting color combo. Because it says that when you recycle a rune, you may exhaust me to play a gold gear token exhausted. And when one or more enemy units die, ready me. So already that's a pretty solid choice there. Then, of course, on the battlefields, we have Obelisk of Power. Again, can be something to really help speed you into the game against the Draven matchups. Likewise, Sigil of the Storm can be something to really devastate Draven matchups, or even just matchups in general. Ezreal has a really big power creep. And then Zon Warren's very powerful here. Sivir is powerful, but I already promised Tara he plays Sivir and he's going for the metal card, and I'm like, yeah, dude, don't worry. I won't play your deck, I promise. I'm tempted though. Oh, let me get out of the way for you guys. Sorry about that. But yeah, I really like this deck combination here. And then even down below, this is a really solid deck choice here. I unfortunately do not like her alt art personally. I'm sure it looks better in person. I just don't like her alt art. But yeah, Sivir Mercenary has the ability to be accelerated, and then if you recycle 2 runes, she gets +2 and ganking. Now, of course, that's at any time that you recycle 2 runes. So you also get to create a gold from that, which is what is making this deck so powerful. So not only do you get to buffer and add ganking, but really you only had to recycle 1 rune at that point in the sense of power cost, at least. So you're able to get it back. Then, of course, 3 Traveling Merchants, 3 Ezreal, 2 Fizz, 3 Rasha, the Sunderers. Again, you're going to be discarding a lot. So you're going to be getting either spells in the discards or things like that. So Fizz can utilize that. But not only that, Rasha can then come out for, relatively cheap, if not free, outside of paying the 1 power cost. Then, of course, you have 3 Seal of Discords. Great choice there. 2 Scrap Heaps. Again, when this card is played, discarded, or killed, draw 1. Okay, cool. Again, then Treasure Trove. When this leaves the board, draw 1 and channel 1 rune exhausted. Also, you can recycle 1 to kill this. So essentially, you can, for 2 and a power, draw 2 cards and channel 1 rune. So, I mean, just really good right there. Last Rites, again, very powerful. When I conquer a hold, you may play a unit from your trash. So again, if you do want to get a Fizz out, if you want to get a Rasha out, if you need an Ezreal out, you are able to do all of that. And yeah, you're exactly right. Ezreal plus the Miracle package is so incredibly strong. It's probably one of the strongest combos in this game. And that's why you got to be so careful about how you go about that. I mean, with Seal, Called Shot, and Ezreal, it's absolutely insane the amount of card draw you're able to get. Then outside of that, of course, we have On the Hunt to ready your units. Punch First to give a unit +5 this turn. Really powerful. Then also one of the best options here, especially when going into Draven decks, again, is going to be Challenge, because it just hits them. It doesn't matter if they have a fight or flight in the battlefield. They have to, take that hit, essentially, which is really awesome. Really great way to be able to deal with their answers there. Sabotage at 3, Stack Deck at 3. Again, insane card draw. Then 2 Fight or Flight and 1 Rebuke. Again, with the Fizz, you can recycle all of that back so much and so effectively. It is just absolutely insane. Then down here, Unyielding Spirit. Again, great options into the Kai'Sa matchups. Very well utilized here in the Kai'Sa matchup. If you watched that gameplay, really good. Cannon Barrage to deal 2 to all enemy units in combat. Again, really great answers for those low-level units that go wide. The Sand Soldiers, the Victors, things like that. Really great option there. Hard Bargain to counter some things. Akshan, very powerful to be able to take some important units and gear. And Ruin Runner. I can't be chosen by enemy spells and or abilities. And 1 Downwell. I really do like the Downwell because it is essentially a board wipe. You return all units and gear to their owner's hands. Now, you can float a lot of your power in this case. So if you are going to be losing your seals and your gold, you can utilize that a little bit before to be able to use that after Downwell. And then you can play out the Rashas in that case and then immediately be prepared for to essentially get 2 points on your following turn. So, yeah, something that looks really good about Spirit Forge Kai'Sa is all the new cards are rare or less. Yeah, you're exactly right about that. That's a very good point. So very cheap conversion there. Very cheap. And so likewise, let's go back to, there's one other deck I really want to take a look at, and that's going to be the Jax deck. Now, 1 second. I will be right back in about 30 seconds. Just a quick bathroom break. So I will be right back. Get you some music. Alrighty. Also got a tri-tip. Got to keep checking on. We smoking it. Hey, Dan, good to see you. Welcome, welcome. What were you looking for? Good to have you here. So, anyway, this again is going to be riftdex.com, where we have all the deck lists here. Really helpful. Love this Jax deck list. I've been playing against Savige every Thursday. And gotta say, as I lose my headset, gotta say, very impressed with how this Jax turned out. Oh, Rifty. Yeah. And so yeah, we'll be doing one of those after this. But I gotta say, I really love the Jax here. And if you also pull a Jax from your pre-Rift event, he could probably be, and I was wrong about this in my video. I think Jax actually could be one of the most powerful legends that you can pull. Oh yeah, no worries. I've been telling my friends that Jax is underrated. It really is. Now, let me go ahead and export this again just so we can get the image. And I think, again, Jax and Kaisa, we're going to see uptick in popularity here this next week. Very powerful deck. Okay, bye, guys. Poop. Okay, anyway, here we go. Sorry, I do sound effects. So that's going to be one of the biggest things. Now, for those of you who don't know, you're exactly right, Dan. That Grandmaster of Arms says, pay 1, tap this to attach a detached equipment you control to a unit you control. So kind of like the Teemo of gear or of equipment. And then attach an attached equipment you control to a unit you control. And that is a very powerful ability that I think is being slept on, because you're able to play a new unit and just utilize moving things around so that you can create a lot more powerful units or utilize things a lot better. And so, I mean, and with your pre-Rift events too that are coming up, he's going to be a big difference maker because you can include a third color. You're exactly right, Dan. So you can do Boots of Swiftness. You can do Coal. Purple has a lot of really good gear that you are able to utilize. So if you do Jax and you do 3 colors and purple is your third color, well, if you add an Overzealous Fan or, Treasure Hunter and other equipment that can be very powerful for this deck, you are going to be steamrolling your opponents. But we're not talking about that necessarily. I'm just super excited for pre-Rift events. Then on this also, we have 3 battlefields that are chosen here: Monastery of Hirana, Sunken Temple, and Dreaming Tree. Now, Sunken Temple specifically says that when you conquer here with 1 or more mighty units, you may pay 1 to draw 1. Then, on top of that, we have Monastery of Hirana, which when you conquer here, you may spend 1 buff to draw 1, and Dreaming Tree, of course, the first time you choose a friendly unit with a spell here each turn, draw 1. Also, though, in green, that might also be really good, Dan, is Thwonk. Just because it can stun a lot. Now, here we go with the Jax over here. It has Deflect, and each equipment in your hand has Quick Draw, which is insane. So it is able to be played at reaction speed and auto-equips. That's insane. That Jax is so powerful. I love it. I really... Sorry, you guys can tell I really like this deck. Death Knell, of course, if I die alone, draw 1. Pit Rookie to be able to buff units. Sea Monkey, you can buff for an additional cost. First Mate, really powerful when you play me, ready another unit. And First Mate and Akshan can be so powerful in this deck, especially Akshan being able to take an equipment or a gear in this case. Oh, yeah. No, I've already signed up for so many. I'm going to be doing as many pre-Rift events as I can. I already told the wife I'm sorry. I'm going to be gone just because I am so excited for these pre-Rift events. Then I also got to say, one of the most powerful gears here is going to be Brutalizer. Absolutely love this card, especially with Jax's ability. One of the most broken cards with Jax, because if it was attached to me this turn, I get an additional +2 might. So Brutalizer can add 3 to your unit. And with Jax, you can keep just moving it around. So you're adding 3 might to a lot of different units, which is just so cool to be able to see. Also, love Wizened Elder. When I'm buffed, I have an additional +1. Cool. So his buff counts as 2. Really good option there. Then we also have, when you attach an equipment to me, choose one that has been chosen this turn. Ready 2 runes, channel 1 rune exhausted, or buff a friendly unit. So again, I really want to play test this card. And so yeah, Jax can move it every single turn. And then of course we have the Guardian Angels. We have 2 Defies, 2 Not So Fast, very powerful cards there. Discipline, Challenge, and Counter Strike. Now, why do I like Counter Strike? Well, you choose a unit. It automatically interacts with Dreaming Tree there. The next time that unit would be dealt damage this turn, prevent it and draw 1. Okay, cool. That's really cool. And so again, I just really like what this is able to do and what we have the ability to do here. And so again, Jax is absolutely powerful. And I can't wait to see what this deck is going to be able to do. Because again, I think I was wrong. I did a tier list. And I put Jax pretty low. I think I put him in the D tier. Is he up to A tier? I don't know yet. I need to see additional information. I need to also be able to play a couple of games with him. A couple more games, especially with this list. It looks really good. And I want to see what it's able to do here. But again, I'm very impressed with what he's able to do. And I think, yeah, Jax could be meta. Jax could be that A tier. So we'll see. Anyway, guys, it looks like I just got the notification on my phone. The tri-tip is at temp, and so I got to get that taken off of the smoker and then get everything else taken care of. So thank you guys so much for being here. Love that we were able to do all of this. We're going to be live streaming more tomorrow, so look forward to that. That's going to be mid-afternoon or around 4 p.m. Eastern, just so you guys know. Or actually, yeah, pretty much around this time in 2 hours or earlier. So anyway, keep that in mind. But thank you guys so much for being here. And until next